The Beef and Barnzy Show, brought to you by Bowlersmart.com, trusted by bowlers around the world since 2004. By Lightning Strikes Bowl, home of Bowlers Mart Pro Shop. By Platinum Ford, drive the difference. By Fire Lake Bowling Center, 24 state-of-the-art lanes. By True Grit Coatings, drive on our passion. By Road to Grip, king of them all. By 900 Global, striking worldwide.
Welcome to the Beef and Barnzy Show, and we got a good one for you today. As usual, I'm joined by the English superstar himself. Gosh, you're getting ready for a big tournament this weekend. The rest of your teammates are over in UAE enjoying the debacle over there. How is today going for you there, big boy?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I was texting a little bit last night with some of the non-English guys, asking them, what's been going on, and yeah, it's been a little interesting to say the least. I asked somebody, because I noticed this yesterday, and me and you discussed it, why the doubles was bowled on one lane each, but the singles was bowled on a pair, and they said, I don't know. There was no logic. So
no reason whatsoever.
So yeah, the trios, I found out what the rules were on that. You bowl 2 games on a lane, then you change lanes, and then you have to change the guy who goes first.
Yeah, but the flip side of that is you can change after the first game, and then they can bowl the next 3 if they want.
Oh, okay.
You only have to change. I mean, just whoever bowls, you can't start match 1, 3, and 5. So there's already a nice.
Right. And then on top of that, did you hear about the warm-up scenario for coming in?
No.
So you can bring guys in whenever you want. Like switch guys out. But each country gets 5 warm-up shots for the block. Total. So, just an FYI.
Each, you get. You mean between games, or just to start before you start?
No. Everybody practices like normal, but for the trios, you can bring in your 4th guy if you want to. Flip guys in and out. Did I lose you, Chris?
Gotcha. We stopped there for a second.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm with you now.
So you can bring guys in and out during the game, like your extra guys.
Uh-huh.
But there's a warm-up pair, and each country gets 5 shots for the block on that warm-up pair. So you can use them however you want. But you would think if you're going to bring a new guy in, you'd want him to have a warm-up shot. Well, you get 5 of them total.
All right.
So anyway, that was just teething issues.
Going with Stephen Hawk's comment. Happy Veterans Day, and you're bored.
Yeah,
just right on that. Thank you, veterans. You can give back at bvl.org. Very much so. Appreciate that. It's also National Diabetes Month, Awareness Month. Something close to our heart as well. So, but with that, I think we should get to our esteemed guest. Excited about this one. He has, he also talks on a microphone these days, but, that's just the last 20 years. Before that, he was actually really good at throwing it. So 13 titles, including a major, should have been 2. He did have 3 titles in 1989 and did not win the Player of the Year somehow, but that's because Amleto was the man and won 4 that year. So he got the Bill O'Neill Nice Run Award. He has been a mainstay on the PBA telecast for the last 20 years. He is the voice of the PBA and a PBA Hall of Famer, Randy Pedersen.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Randy.
Nice to see you again. Intro, man. You guys are like you're like top shelf, high class now. I mean, that intro is beautiful, and and all the sponsors and everything. I mean, like, you guys have really stepped up your game.
Yeah. The only problem is the audience has stepped away a little.
Well, maybe that's it. It can't be because of you guys. It's got to be your guests.
Yeah, maybe, or lack thereof.
I
So-
don't believe
I don't think
it.
I've ever heard you say anything nicer about me. Esteemed guest and the Bill O'Neill Award. I mean, I got to thank you for that, bro. That's awesome.
So we could go in a lot of directions here, Randy, but I feel like at least for the first like part of the show, I think we should focus more on Randy Pedersen, the bowler, because I feel like because you've done the commentary job for the best part of 20 years.
20 years now, since 2001.
Yeah,
It's like 21 years.
yeah.
You're like on a longer run than Bo Burton right now. It's gonna.
I need one more year. I need one more year to tie Bo,
Wow.
and that's going to happen in 2022.
So I feel like
I'll think about that.
your stellar Hall of Fame bowling career kind of goes on the back burner a little bit.
Yeah.
So I felt like we might highlight that a little bit more today. One time I wanted to, because I feel like another guy whose career kind of gets, people kind of forget is Wayne Webb. Because Wayne Webb was really good. And I also love the fact that he trolls Barnes every year by walking around with a chain that says 20 on it. It's nothing to do with Chris, but it's awesome that he wears it. I told him that he said he was going to let Tommy borrow it. But anyway, so 13 titles and you made less than 50 shows. That makes you one of the greatest winners of all time, Randy.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was hard for me to get there, but I was such an up and down guy, and I mean, a little like Chris, I was always looking for, perfection and falling in and out of timing, and my game kind of being here, and then it was here, and then it was kind of like this for the majority of my career. But when I did find it, and I was able to keep it together and sustain a number of weeks throwing it nice, I found a way to get to the shows. And then once I got there, I knew that I was throwing it so good that, there was nobody that was going to beat me that day. But the hard part was obviously sustaining that. I had a lot of moving parts in my game, even though maybe it looked kind of okay. There was so many better players than myself. But for me mentally, when I did get it, I just felt like I'm going to win. And it happened a lot. I left solid 8 to lose, which was terrible.
Nobody's ever heard about that.
I shot 257 at Bob Learn when he averaged 280. I mean, so I could have had a couple more, but it was just kind of one of those things where it was really hard for me. I was one of those guys that had to practice constantly. I wasn't that gifted guy like EJ or somebody that, rarely, or Weber that didn't practice a whole lot, and Malott, same kind of way. Chris practices his ass off, and so do you. But I was that guy. I had to practice all the time just to find some type of rhythm and feel.
Do you think that really hurt you once you started having the issues with your knees? Because obviously the amount of games you practiced, like, it's not like you can tell your body, hey, these games don't really count. It's okay.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Stu. I'm just recovering now from my 4th knee surgery. This one on my right knee. And so that was about 2.5 months ago. So I'm still kind of getting back from that. But yeah, man, I mean, I think that, we've had this debate for so long about bowling being a sport and this, that, and the other. And so all you have to do is get one of your buddies who's a professional golfer or this or that to go out and bowl 6 or 8 games and then tell me how you feel tomorrow. And I think that you're right. I think it beat my body up. And obviously took a toll on my knees. My knees are just so bad now. And, you know, if I was smart like you two, I would have taken better care of my legs back in the day. I would have made sure that my quads were monsters, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. But, you know, I never had the foresight to see that coming. And so I just kind of, you know, it was bowling shape and bowling shape and bowling shape. And, you know, and that was pretty much it. And it took a toll.
So I like the way that you just slipped in. You know, take one of your friends who's a professional golfer. You know, just drop that in there. Like,
Ding.
you know.
Ding.
My boy Cal, me and him, we were out. We were shooting 18, you know, at Riviera. And I said, you know what? There's a bowling center just down the road. Let's go and throw a few games, Calc.
Well, you know, I've actually had that experience. So I have a lot of friends that are on mini tours, Corn Ferry Tour, and whatnot. And I've had that experience happen before where we went out and bowled 4 games, and my phone blows up the next day. Oh my God, my hip hurts, my ass hurts. I can't move my right arm. You know, and I'm like, 4 games? Are you kidding me? And you've got a guy that carries your own bag? You guys remember, Chris, I don't know if did you ever bowl at, besides high roller stuff, did either of you ever bowl a PBA event at Showboat?
It was shut before I was
done, right? But Chris, you bowled Showboat?
Yeah. I was there for the Nick Melnikoff, among other things.
Well, for those of you that don't know, like Showboat was like 80 lanes straight across, right? And the locker room was on the other side of 1 and 2, up 2 flights of stairs. And it was a huge, Chris, what was it, like a banquet room or something?
Yeah, I mean, several banquet rooms. It's gigantic.
Well, and so 80 lanes, right? So you make match play, and your starting pair is 57 and 8. And you come down the stairs with 2 double totes and a triple roller or 2. Think about it. I mean, and now you got to hump it all the way down to 57 and 8, not to mention the fact that you're coming all the way from, you know, that banquet room down the stairs. It's a lot of gear to hump, and, you know, we were used to it. That's what we did back in the day. And
it was basically what USBC Nationals is every year, except it was every block.
Exactly. And, you know, when you saw your starting pair and you were like, F, I'm on 71 and 2, you know.
No. Yeah. Which didn't matter, because even if you started on 5 and 6, it just meant you were going to end up on 75 and 6.
Right. I mean, it was just, you know, it's just a big, long trek. And then somebody got smart one year and they started hiring caddies. It was like, I think I solicited little Von Kruger at the time and started paying him like $20 a squat or something. He was like 13. I made him hump all my gear, so it was great.
Little Von Kruger, who's now like 34, but I mean,
right, exactly.
So for those viewers who have never heard it, I feel like although it's funnier when Mika tells it because you don't understand every word, but you understand the passion that he brings to it. Talk through the Nick Melnikoff incident.
Which one?
The bull return.
Oh God, Chris, I can't remember it. What did he do?
Nick had the best finable blow up that I can recall. Like many people, the Showboat, you either struck like every shot or you just rung 10 mercilessly. And Nick was in game 16 or so of the last round of qualifying, and it was not going well, and he was not going to make it, and or was close enough to be heated, and left another ring 10 and decided those 2000s, the Brunswick 2000s, that were just kind of hollow, and that they needed to be adjusted.
He took his good pipe at it, right?
He basically Harrison Buckard one time knocked it right off the whole thing. It was all sideways and whatever else. And walked off the approach, stopped 40 some lanes because it was a boomer. Went back out, adjusted it, put it back on, went back to the foul line, and Justin tuckered the next one and booted it off the rails the second time.
That's right.
He got a little applause from the guys that were around, and that was the one time I saw the guys pass a hat for somebody. If you're gonna go down swinging like that one, all in.
Yeah, that was the two bagger. I've got a really good blow up, but it happened when I was a junior bowler, and I don't know if you guys have ever witnessed anything like this, but we were bowling a junior tournament somewhere in Southern California, and I can't remember the guy's last name, but his first name was Peter, and he had had enough, and he literally took his bowling ball into the men's room and stood over one of the commodes, ball overhead, and literally slammed it into the toilet. The toilet disintegrated, and there was water everywhere. Of course, he gets into big trouble and blah, blah, blah. So for weeks after that, we would ask him, how's the shot? How's the shot? Is it in the toilet? And it just stuck with him forever. But I'd never seen anybody chuck a bowling ball in the toilet before.
That's pretty good.
That was good. That was a good one.
I've seen someone go into the toilet, and we were bowling at
Wait a minute, hang on.
Curtis Woods' place.
Okay, go ahead.
And this particular bowler has made TV shows, walked out of the door, and about 10 minutes later, water started trickling out of the toilets. And he'd managed to stomp one of the pissers off the wall.
Oh my God.
Curtis Woods was like, who the fuck did this? He wasn't very happy.
Oh my Lord.
There was like water just like suddenly there was like, I go, why is there water coming out of the toilets? He's like, oh my God, one of the toilets must have overflowed. So he runs in and he sees the pissers on the floor.
So all right, another good bowling toilet story. So Chris, and maybe Stu, maybe you remember, but at North Rock, do you remember the giant urinals they had at North Rock? How far they protruded out from the wall? I mean,
Yeah.
I've never seen urinals like this before in my life.
Okay.
Remember Norm Titus?
Yeah.
We walk into the bathroom and he's dropping a deuce in the urinal. And we're like, what in the frick are you doing? And he goes, well, the other two stalls are full and I had to take a dump. And we're like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Norm was just like, dude, I had to go. That's just stuff that never leaves your brain. You just can't unsee that.
Yeah. That's
See, we could one time if we could ever get Rick Benoit on the show, we could get him to just have an entire show, him talking about Bob Benoit's best fryouts.
Oh God, yeah. What about you guys ever tell a story about Mike Miller in Indianapolis?
There's so many Mike Miller stories. Go ahead.
Well, so we had a rule in place that you couldn't practice in jeans. You had to practice in slacks. But in Indianapolis, remember they would pipe and drape off the low end where we would put our equipment, and then we would have a couple of lanes to practice on whenever we wanted, and it was pipe and draped off from the crowd. So Miller comes in and he's practicing it during match play one night, and he's practicing in jeans. And I think Campos was the tournament director at the time, and he comes in and he says, Mike, you can't practice in jeans. Mike said, okay, Johnny, no problem. Johnny leaves. When Johnny comes back, Miller's practice, he's
long socks.
no, like tidy white.
No, I mean, he has on the long socks,
Yeah,
a polo shirt,
right.
and tidy whities.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The great visual.
Only him.
And Mike says to me, he goes, don't believe every story you heard about me. It might be true, but don't believe it.
There's so many Mike Miller stories that you should do a show on him just with some of the shit that he's done. Randy, what about the time about when you were bowling in Japan? Oh, yeah. We don't need to talk about that, Larry.
Well, but now it's already out there. So
Yeah, no. I'm good. Yeah, we're not going there. Let's just say we had a wardrobe malfunction in Japan one year.
Talk about BV. You can tell the BV Japan story.
Oh, we were so everybody comes out for match play and they line up on the approach, and BV is wearing these like light cream colored linen pants, and we get introduced and we start warming up, and I just kind of catches my eye, and I look, and when he gets to the foul line, I'm like, bro, did you did you shit yourself? He goes, yeah, and I go, well, yeah, everybody can see it, just so you know. Dude, he had this stain like this, like the size of a fist, right in the center of his ass, and he didn't bat an eye, bro. He just went out there to average like 220 or 30 for that block, and I'm like, oh my god. Maybe
it turns out
it was the Japanese food. I don't know.
I believe we do need to talk about that, Randy.
Yeah, no.
A vote for the Randy Japan story.
Not happening.
he wants to type Bo Burton.
Let's just say it involved an Eastern style toilet and me not knowing how to operate one.
Eastern style means, for those that don't know, it's
you guys know, but
it's a hole in the floor.
I've never been to Asia, so you have the Western style toilet, which is what we have, what we're used to, and what we have in our homes and everywhere else, and then in Asia, you have these, they look like a little Indy 500 oval racetrack thing that sits flush in the ground. And then it's got like a little flusher at the end and a little reservoir. And I had to go really bad. And I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, how the hell do you work this thing? Because I'd never seen one before. And the Western style toilet was broken. So I had to use this thing. Well, I didn't know you had to get naked to freaking use it. So what do you think happened? It wasn't good. So I ended up having to ditch my underwear out the window of the bathroom. We're on the 8th floor where Tokyo Port Bowl is. I think Tokyo Port Bowl is on the 7th floor. And now I got to ditch my red Calvin Kleins out the window because there's no garbage can or anything else. So I just toss them out the window. Well, on the way down, they landed on a power line. So there they are hanging. So I go back up to the locker room and I tell Ozil what happened, David Ozil, and I go, dude, and look, you can see him from here. And we look out the window, and you can see him hanging from the locker room. And he starts dying. And I'm like, dude, I can't make this up. I'm telling you, this is what happened. Dude, you're not laughing.
Well,
you're not listening.
No, I did listen. I was just repulsed.
It's not the best story, but it's a solid 2. Thanks, William. Oh God, that was back in that had to be 1988.
Yeah. I mean, Port Bowl was tough too because it's not so much never wear white after Labor Day. Never wear white after going out with the Japanese the night before. Because
I mean, as you know, Chris, I mean that food is so delicious, but sometimes it doesn't sit well.
It doesn't, and occasionally they would feed you a beverage or two the night before as well. So
karaoke.
Yeah, and it's a 15-minute bus ride from the hotel. So if something happens, and I mean, nobody's running back to get you a pair of pants.
Yeah, I mean, how many times did you win the Japan Cup?
Twice.
Yeah, so I mean, the celebratory party afterwards, and I mean, it was always such an awesome event, and I miss Japan. I haven't been for a few years, and we are listening to you, Randy. Hi, Linda. So yeah, I mean, it's it's always a great event. I love the food and the people, and at the time when I won the Japan Cup, Chris, back in what year did I win? 89 or 88? 89. Anyway, they paid me in cash, and we get I know, right? And we get on the bus to go to the airport, and I get off the bus, and stupid Randy leaves the bag with the cash on the bus. And I'm checking in Narita, and I'm like, and then of course I'm like, so hungover from the night before, and I literally forget my bag on the bus. And get off, and I'm checking in whatever airlines I'm flying, and I'm like, holy shit. And I come flying out of there, and here comes the bus driver with my bag. and he hands me my bag, and not a dollar missing. That's Japan.
Yeah.
That is Japan. And that is not a lot of other places in this world.
Oh, shit. Excuse me. I just got back from Cabo. I don't think that would have happened in Cabo.
Yeah, there's a rumor about a story in Cabo and you in a police car.
Yeah, so it's the last thing you want to ever see is the inside of a Mexican police car. Now, keep in mind that Cabo's a great place, and my buddy invited me. He paid for this unbelievable room, and it was a villa.
Ding.
I'm not name dropping, but it was free, and free rhymes with me. I'll take 3, and so I went. So we go fishing, and we come back with our catch, and they're cooking it for us right there in the dock. And another guy comes up to us and says, "Hey, you want to go fishing?" And we said, "Well, we're thinking about going Thursday." And he says, "Sure, let me show you the boat." So he takes us down, shows us the boat. I go, "Yeah, that good looking boat there. Yep, that'll do just fine." And this is the amount of money it costs, and he wants a $300 deposit. So he fills out a slip for us. We give him $300. We got the piece of paper. It's got the owner's name on it with a phone number and everything else. All looks legit. So we show up Thursday. This is probably 4 days later. We show up Thursday to the boat, 6 a.m. Well, there's 6 guys sitting in our boat, and they're not the crew or the captain. They're guys that rented that same boat. And we're like, okay, we were scammed. So we find another guy, and he takes us on his boat, and we go out. We come back. We tell the guy what happened. He goes, "Well, there's a visitor center right over here, and they take care of stuff just like this in case, the visitors get taken or whatever." So we go in there. Long story short, they call this lady on this ticket. She shows up. They say basically she's either going to pay us our $300 or they're going to prosecute her. Next thing you know, another guy shows up, pays $300. We get our money back. But now they've all gathered outside this office, and they're waiting for us. So the police showed up, gave us an escort out the back door, put us in their car, drove us to where our car was parked. We got in, hauled ass, and made it back to the hotel, and we were good and got our money back.
Bang, bang, win-win.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. And it was funny because we were coming out of the parking garage, and I had my fishing gear on, I had a scarf on, I had my sunglasses on, and I looked like just a pure criminal and sitting in the back of this police car. And the parking lot attendant came out, and we locked eyes as we were driving by, and I just kind of gave him this, and he started shouting obscenities at me.
You should have had Del Warren with you. That would have sorted everything. Did you hear about Del in Thailand?
No.
Well, he gets in a taxi to go to the airport or whatever from the bowling center. I guess he just hailed a taxi and he got in. And the guy's driving him along, and he pulls down this alley. And he says, "I just gotta go and get cigarettes." And Del's like, No, bro, that doesn't work for me. The guy gets out. A different guy gets in the back of the cab with him with a knife. Del throat punches the guy, knocks him out, gets in the car, drives it to the end of the street, flags a cop, and drives the car to the police station. Gives his statement with the guy still passed out in the back. The police arrest that guy. Then the taxi driver turns up at the police and says, this Western guy stole it. And he goes, "Yeah, bro, no, they didn't." Puts cuffs on him, and then Del leaves. And Timmy's telling me this story, and I go, "Where's Del now?" And Timmy goes, "He had to go back to Gotham City."
I did hear something like that. Yeah.
He goes, "Del Warren's Batman, bro."
What a story.
I mean, like, how unlucky did you get? Well, A, why did you decide to mug the guy who's 6'5"? But then on top of that, the guy happens to be a black belt. Bad break.
Yeah, not good. Yeah, good for him.
So, who was your most entertaining roommates along your ride?
Ooh. Most entertaining?
Yeah.
Well, colorful. Yeah. Or
Oh.
/ crazy.
So we'll ask you that question. And the second question is, did you have a lucky roommate? Like when you room with that guy, like you're not necessarily the guy you room with all the time, but you'd have like, man, I room with this guy. It's like, you know, it's like my 4-leaf clover.
So I would say my most colorful roommate was probably George Branham III, and my lucky roommate was probably Ron Palumbi Jr.
Oh yeah.
I won the majority of my titles rooming with Ron. George was definitely the most colorful.
Well, aside from the obvious reasons. What?
Hang on, guys. I got to answer that. I'll be right back.
All right.
My man's on DoorDash today. He's getting lunch.
No, Instacart.
Okay.
That is groceries because he's too hoity-toity to go to the grocery store.
Well, you know, when you're big time, he's been the voice of the PBA for 20 years. So,
and you know, when you have friends who are professional golfers.
and Don Knowlton, Tony Lang is definitely the lucky roommate. It's only a one-way partnership, it seems, though. Dan seems to get all the benefits out of that deal, not so much Tony, but you know, that's how some of those Florida guys are. There's a couple of stories actually with Rainey. I know over time he's what is it? How many shows did he make? He made 30?
I thought he made 42.
42 shows and 13 wins. We touched on it, but that's an amazing win percentage on TV. Everybody talks about how much different people have lost, of course, and all that. But actually, that's one of the best winning percentages of all time.
Yeah, no, definitely it is for sure. And here he is. Did you need to put your groceries away, or did they do that?
Sorry,
for
guys. You never leave Jersey Mike's hanging. Just say.
Oh, so it was like it wasn't a grocery order then.
Maybe.
Wow.
So what do you want to talk about now? Randy, on a scale of 1 to 10, how cheap is Barnes went out on tour? Any cheap ass stories that you've been a part of might share? We never use these against Chris. I don't have any cheap Chris Barnes stories. I've only heard rumors. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that Chris is probably not cheap. When he feels the need to be generous, he's probably very generous. So I've only heard rumors. Alan,
there you go. He said he's not cheap with his friends. That's what he said. He's just quite selective about his friends.
So Randy and I have done fine. We've shared beverages in multiple countries around the world.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's been a hell of a ride. And looking back, and I heard some of the stuff that you guys were talking about in terms of my win percentage and whatnot. But you know, I think that when I'm getting ready to shove off, I mean, I'm going to look back at all the relationships that I've been able to make over the years, and the countries that I've been able to see, and the friendships and the experiences. It's all been because of one thing, and that's the sport of bowling and the PBA. And I mean, it may not be that rich monetarily in terms of if you want to compare it to golf or other sports, but I'll tell you what, you can't put a price tag on the experiences, the friendships, places that I've been, things that I've seen. It's been amazing. Very lucky.
Hey, our friends at Lightning Strikes, get that knee healed up. You can go on a free cruise because evidently free is you. You guys just want to let you know we have a $4,000 and a free cruise first place Masters tournament down here at Oakfield Lanes, where Doherty is there on November 20th, 21st. So down in Tampa, just a short drive for you. You can make that swing over there, catch you a cruise.
Probably not going to make that one. Now, if they want to pay for my way on the cruise to add some entertainment or something, I can do that.
There's no golf courses on a cruise, though, Randy. Overrated.
Bakes, yes, he does. Chris grabs the check 90% of the time. Bakes, stop lying, bro.
Yeah, that's just to hand it to him.
No,
that's not.
Bakes is the one that's picking it up 90% of the time.
You're right. There's no doubt.
Yes, James. Yes, I know. Chris is old and he gets.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
How are you guys doing? Hey, let me ask you. Let me ask the questions now because that's what I'm used to. So what's all right? So Chris talked a little bit about before we came on, or right as we came on. Stu, do you have something coming up? Do you have some kind of event coming up?
Yeah, we're bowling in Dallas this weekend. Chris is bowling with Packy tonight in doubles. So Chris is cheering for the left side. It's good. He's gonna need a shower after he's finished bowling because he's gonna be like, oh God, I was cheering for the lefty.
I was gonna say this is the first time Chris has ever bowled with a left-hander.
Oh no.
No, but it doesn't mean that after you do it, you don't feel dirty and horrible inside about it.
Yeah, you kind of have to sell your soul out sometimes to do it. But yeah, at some point you should get on the train or get run over by it. The Steve Miller quote.
It's like I was texting with Martin last night, and Martin messed his hands up at home.
I saw something like what happened to his fingers.
So basically, he had some doors, some glass doors that were being delivered to build like an outside patio, and his daughter was basically leaning against them to keep them up, and the wind blew, and she couldn't hold them up. And instead of getting out of the way, she tried to hold them up. And then Martin ran back and was like, oh, shit, and dived to get her out of the way. And he completely screwed his fingers up. So he's still gone to the World Championships, right? Because he's doing the, team thing. He's trying to, cheer everybody on. And they didn't need, with the way the format is this time, not everybody bowls. So it's fine, and he's cheering. But Martin's bowled with Jesper for the best part of 6 years, probably, in the events.
Yeah.
And it's been quite a while since the left side was good. And now the left side over there is absolutely stone walled.
Jesper shot, they bowled 5-game blocks. Jesper's first block was 1345 without a 300 game.
Without an 8 count.
Hang on a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to text Jesper?
269, bro. 269.
That's a lot.
Yeah. He shot, for the people out there, I've never seen a block like this either. He shot 259, 269, 279, 279, 259. So every score had a 9 on the end.
0 8 counts. And he made them all.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, the 279 might have been a 9 whiff sheet. You never know.
I guess.
That was always my joke. The lefty near perfect game, 246, 9 whiff, 8 bag, and 9 whiff. Let's go.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah, so Martin said he's sitting there a little depressed that the one time that he didn't get to bowl with Jesper, is Jesper could have picked someone out the crowd to bowl with and they would have been fine. Like white men can't jump style. Hey, Billy Ho, I'll take you. Jesper and Richie could have done that with somebody just hanging out, cleaning the bowling center toilets. Hey, do you want to run a gold medal? Come bowl with me.
So what was the guy's name from the Chris Paul event? He could have pulled out of the crowd something Montana.
Oh, yeah, the DJ.
French Montana?
French Montana. Yeah.
So he could have pulled French Montana and made it.
Yeah, it seemed that way. Yeah. Jesper averaged about 255, I think, for the 10 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then they dropped all the pins and they put you in pods of 8 like the World Cup. And he finished 5th in his pod. Didn't make it to even the quarterfinals, let alone the middle round. So
wow, that's crazy.
But
Brady's finalist numbers: 13 wins, 4 seconds, 34 shows. You made the title match half of the time you made TV.
Yeah.
You're a stud.
Wow.
Yeah.
13-4 is pretty good in the title match as well.
I was just fortunate, when I got the title match, I just felt really good, and TV was always a very comfortable place for me. I know it's hard to believe, but it was always a very.
You seem very uncomfortable in front of a crowd. I've always said that.
Well, I am a bit reserved, as you know. It takes a little bit to get me out of my shell, but I was, you guys know how hard it is to win on tour. I mean, Chris, you should have 30-something titles. It's so hard to win. But I was fortunate that, I was able to take advantage of the few amount of times that I got there.
Do you think
34 is not few, by the way.
What's that?
34 is not exactly few.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge number, but why does my light keep coming on my phone? I don't turn it on. Isn't that crazy?
so? So
my grandma says the same thing.
So to some of the guys who struggle on TV, who make it more than you did, what would be your number one sort of like, I don't know, like philosophy or like idea about, you know, what someone could do? Like, what was it that you liked about it that enabled you to perform at your best or even better than that while on TV? Because obviously there are some guys who do that, but there are other guys who, you know, who really struggle in that environment.
Well, I think that going in, I understood a couple of things to start off with. I knew that I was going to be nervous to start. I knew that everybody was going to be nervous to start. I also knew that the lanes didn't have to be the same. They could be worse than what I had all week. They could be better than what I had all week. So I always had an open mind going in, right? So I always kept all of my options available to me, even though there's probably a lot more variables now, wouldn't you say, Chris, than back when I was kind of doing it? But
different ones.
So I always accepted that. I always knew that you're going to be nervous the first couple of shots. Once I got my legs underneath me, my only focus was on execution. That was it. Obviously, I did all the processing of moving. You know, I have to move now. I got to move my feet here. But I always moved with conviction. I always believed that the move that I was going to make was the right one, so that there was never a doubt. There was never any hesitance in the shot that I was about to make after making an adjustment. And then just, again, there was no other thought process other than how good I was going to execute that next shot. And that's all I thought about. I would literally sit in the seat waiting for my turn, and I would visualize how pure I was going to throw the next two shots, getting up out of the chair. And maybe, Jesus. All right, love Joe.
Rough times.
And so that's all I ever thought about. And I would visualize the motion. It was almost like watching Marshall Holman and Petraglia Cybervision thing that they did.
Yeah.
Where it was the same shot over and over and over. You just see that. And so I would literally think about how good I was going to throw that next shot. I would visualize my motion going to the foul line. And that was really the only thing I ever thought about.
It's interesting you talk about that, because when people talk about visualization, I would say 90%, probably more, 95% of the time when they're talking about that, they're talking about visualizing the ball going down the lane, whereas you're talking about yourself going down the approach.
Right. It was my motion.
I think that's a strong distinction.
I visualized not only the moving parts, but I also visualized what it would feel leaving my hand. I never really visualized the motion. Like, I saw the shape and I knew how I was going to play the lanes and all that, but it was more of visualizing my body going through the motion and then visualizing how good it was going to feel out of my hand because I was going to pure it. And I mean, you guys know as well as anybody that, you know, when you execute, it leaves your hand and you know that it's going in the general direction of where it needs to go, and you can turn around and walk back. And now it's just a matter of if you carry or not. And that's what I thought about.
Pete Weber has a quote like that. Pete Weber's quote, and I think it's a little strong, but this is his quote. He says, "From the dots to the foul line is 100% skill, and from the foul line to the pins is 100% luck." I was like, that's a little strong, but
I think if you rework the percentages, it's a really great statement.
I know it's not, but because it's my show, I'm gonna say that Linda's coming off the top rope with a good troll here. Mental game stuff, weird, right? Chris, Ryan, Troy.
She knows plenty about the mental game. Trust me.
Oh yeah, I think she's trying to signify to Ryan that he might want to work on it a little bit.
Maybe.
Of our family, she thinks she's doing.
I know how smart Chris is, but he's not the smartest one in that family. Trust me.
Fair.
Anyway,
I had to.
Speaking of, you and I get a chance to actually turn the clock back a touch too, and we're doing a little commentary this weekend.
well, just before you start this, I'm going to run out of here. I've got to work on my mental approach. Not really. I've got to throw some balls. So, thanks, Randy. You're awesome. You were about as good as Matthew Stafford's offensive line. Sorry, I couldn't let that go. You were wearing a Rams hat.
I think you probably should have me back on after the Rams play the Cardinals again.
Well, I'm not a Cardinals fan.
I thought you would be a Cardinals fan.
No, he's the ultimate hypocrisy.
That's
an English
right.
man living in Arizona, cheering for the Patriots.
He's a Patriots fan / Tampa Bay fan.
No, not really. I mean, if Tampa Bay are playing the Rams, I'm going to cheer for them. I mean, you guys already won that game.
After him, for Christ's sake.
Huh?
You named your son after him, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I know, but I'm like a British people don't change teams. You don't want to be that guy.
All right, I'll be pulling for Liverpool next week.
Thanks, man.
All
right,
it's a pleasure, my friend. Best of luck to you.
Take care. See you later, guys.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
Just you and me left, buddy. Yeah,
just you and me.
Yeah, so we've got this great event coming up, folks. If you don't know about it, head on over to PBA.com. It's the PBA Global Showdown, and a champion will be crowned Sunday. Chris and I will be doing the show. I'm going to be Rob Stone. Chris is going to be a better version of Randy Pedersen, and so we're going to bring you a live feed from bowlers all over the world. First place, $20,000. It's going to be pretty cool. And especially look forward to working with you again.
Yeah, no, I've been looking forward to this kind of arrangement for a while. You've been at this for a long time and gained a lot of the skills that involve doing the play-by-play, which is above my pay grade for sure. But I'm a bowling nerd, and you're the entertainment, and so I have to work with someone entertaining for me to be palatable. So this works out fantastic for me. Lots of mental game stuff. Miranda, what's mental game?
Ryan.
Oh, God. And Linda loves it when we work together. I do too. I'm looking forward to it. This will be fun.
Oh, Ryan, please, you're killing me. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, he's not afraid to troll his mom or his dad. So
I wonder where he gets that from. I think it's more you than Linda.
I am so easy. I have no idea why.
Linda, chime in anytime you feel like it.
The sarcasm is kind of, it just comes out of left field sometimes.
I'll tell you what, buddy. I mean, I don't know of too many guys that are quicker than you are when you need to get it. So you got that going for you. And I think maybe a little bit of that's rubbed off on Ryan.
He's a pretty good kid. Both of them, actually, his brother's pretty witty too for being a left-hander. I mean,
you got two geniuses in the house. I mean, you gotta kind of spread that throughout the family. I mean, it's not like me where, the chances of a dummy coming out are pretty good. I mean,
and that's why she drinks wine.
Linda, God love you. That's all I drink is wine now. I'm just a big giant wino. I sit here at night, throw on Dateline, and I just sip wine. Finally,
is that the deal?
My golf game today. I'm going to miss the game. It starts at noon. So.
Oh yeah. You need to go?
No.
All right. Well.
No. They're already getting ready to go out. So I'd much rather sit and talk with you anyway. So I can play golf with them anytime. So I mean, the big PBA Global Showdown. Chris and I will be doing that live, I believe, at 10 o'clock Eastern. Chris, is that right?
Yeah, 10 Eastern. We'll have people from 5 different countries, 6 bowlers in all, 4 from around the world and 2 from here in the U.S. And, it'll be it's crazy. A couple of games, basically kind of an eliminator format, 6 down to 4 down to 2, and the winner's going to take home $10,000 for
20
zero entry.
20. 20 grand.
20 grand. I'm sorry, 20 grand.
Yeah. I'm looking at it right here.
Oh, come on in here.
I'm just gonna say hi. I gotta go to work. I gotta go to work.
Hi. What do you mean? Wait, he makes you work?
I know, right? It's crazy.
Oh my God.
It's crazy. It's great to see you. I love listening to you guys.
Take care, sweetheart.
Well, you've seen me bowl on TV the last couple of years, right?
I know how
Oh,
much
yeah, that's right. You haven't seen me bowl on TV. That's why she has to work. So
I know how much money you've made over your career.
Alan Riley wants to know how long till Ryan finds out the durability of a 3-ball tote with his foot.
Oh, that's so good. All right, so we talked about guys going off. You talked about Nick Melnikoff. You talked about Peter throwing the ball in the toilet. Stu had a story. Your biggest blow up resulted in what injury?
Very few of my blowups actually end up in injuries, I don't think.
Okay.
I mean, I had the ball fall out of a locker. It busted up my toe the one time. So I was in a boot for 5 or 6 weeks. But
you didn't cause that.
No, I didn't cause that one. That one was just that was stupid. I mean, it was my fault because I had a loose ball on the top shelf of a locker. But
right,
yeah, that I did tap a chair here last January that did a little damage to the same toe. But 15 years later, or 18 years later, but that didn't impact my career so much as the rest of it. Probably the most embarrassing one is I was in Colorado bowling, and we were still wearing polo shirts back then, and Columbia was going all out at the time, and it was about a $6 polo, and I rung 10 in like the 6th, and I kind of gave it one of these, and it went boom, boom, like from there to there, and I'm on lane 3 and 4. The paddock is behind lane 30, and then back through the pool room and around the back. So now I have a shirt that basically flops open more than Janet Jackson's wardrobe malfunction. And then I proceed to throw the back 6 to make the cut on top of it. Each shot, I go up and bowl. I walk straight back. I sit down. I never turn around. I never do. And I make the cut. So now not only do I already feel like an ass, now I am hated by virtually everyone for showing my ass and then being an ass and then still making money while doing it. So
classic.
Brian Smith was my man. He was nice enough to go, despite his wishes. I think he'd rather me walk through the bowling center with my nipple hanging out, but he grabbed a pullover for me, and so I could walk through the center. It, however, did not save me from getting fined. But yeah, that one was not that wasn't a great moment.
Good, that's a good one. Not bad.
Tell us about tour in the 80s. A little different venue back then.
What do you want to know?
I don't know how much you want to share. So,
man, I got to tell you, there was certain cities we would go in, Chris, where we were rock stars, man. It was crazy. And of course, I'm just a young kid, fresh out of high school and never went to college, too stupid and too poor. And so here, this young kid traveling the country, bowling on tour, and then you make a couple of TV shows back in the 80s. And let me just say that you didn't have any trouble getting a date.
6'3", California blonde guy, good looking.
Yeah, there was, and I actually looked pretty decent back then, unlike now. Time is a terrible thing, as you can tell. But yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. And at that time, we were making kind of pretty close to the same money the guys on the PGA Tour were making.
Right.
You think about my first tournament that I ever won was in 1986, and it was the AC Delco Classic, and I won $27,000 for that. And I think the incentive I think it was an Ebonite incentive at the time that I got paid by Bill Supper, and that was another 14. I mean, 41 grand in 1986. 87, I won the national championship, and then Fairlanes back to back with incentives. I made $102,000.
Gosh, what could you do with that when you're 20 years old? And
When I'm 26 years old, I mean, talk about hookers and cocaine. That's a joke. I've never done either one of those.
let's stick with that story. We're gonna go. It didn't end up in a police car in Cabo. That's how that story ends. So,
But I wasn't arrested.
yeah. Well, there's that.
It was a great time. It was fun, man. It was a great time. You know, we bought back then. We would buy conversion vans, you know, with the big tops, and we would travel, you know, 3 or 4 in a van and drive to every site. Ooh, 41,000 is the equivalent purchase power of 102 grand a day. Thank you, Craig. So, you know, and we drove, Chris, we drove everywhere. I mean, we'd load up everybody, Charlie Tapp. Oh my God. No, you're sassy, Charlie. Don't make me tell a Charlie Tapp and Joe Hutchinson story. So,
well, why are there? Why don't you?
Okay, I'll tell the story. I can't remember where we were at. We were having breakfast. Charlie Tapp's eating with Joe Hutchinson. They roomed together forever. And they get up to pay the bill. And they're standing in line to the register. And Hutchinson farts in front of this table where this elderly couple's sitting. And the elderly man gets really pissed off. And he yells at Hutch. He goes, "Hey, you farted in front of my wife." And Hutch turned to him and said, "I'm sorry. I didn't know it was her turn." So, yeah, that's probably one of the few stories I can tell. But yeah, man, I mean, and it was great. You know, it's like I roomed with Palombi and Sam Macarone for a lot of years. And Palombi was that guy that, Chris, I swear to God, I've never seen anybody drive like that. You know, I would typically drive the first leg, you know, like the first tank. And, you know, those vans, they'll do 450 miles on a tank full, right? And I remember going from like Vegas to Dallas. It's a good trip.
It's like 18 hours or so, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good trip, right? So I drive the first leg, maybe 6 hours. All right, I'm done. Palombi, you ready? Yep. Palombi gets in, gets behind the wheel, starts going. Well, I had the conversion van where the couch folded down. You could sleep. I mean, you know, we had no problem just crashing. We're young. We could sleep shit on the top of that minivan, the top of that van if we wanted. And I remember so many times where, you know, you wake up because the van stops and you know that Ron's filling up. "Hey, buddy, you need me to take her?" "No, I'm good." Fills it up. Keeps going. 6 hours later. "Hey, buddy, you need me?" "No, I'm good." I mean, this guy could literally drive for 20 hours and not be tired. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anybody drive like that. He was amazing. So, you know, it worked out great for me. I just put him behind the wheel and we'd sit back there and watch, you know, back then I think we had a TV with VHS tapes, you know, and we'd sit back there and watch movies and Ron would just boogie down the road.
Man, nobody holds court really better than you. I mean, in any language, remember being in Japan, you just "Nandeska!" and start yelling and get the whole room full of people you never met before to all start yelling with you.
That's happened before there.
A few times.
I don't know, man. It's just my way. I don't know any other way, man. You know me. It's just my way. I think that over the years I've come to truly enjoy people and the relationships that I have with people, and really appreciate them, and you know the friendships that I've acquired over the years, and unfortunately, it sometimes takes us a little bit longer to figure that out. But I think that really the only thing that matters is that you figure it out.
Very true. What else? I mean, there's a million Mike Miller stories, but there was a couple asked earlier, like the biggest fine you ever got or saw on the PBA Tour. They used to hand them out a little more often back in the day than they do now. But,
yeah, I mean, Marshall Holman punching the wall, breaking his wrist. I kicked the foul light, and that was about a 25 or 30 yarder where the red cap kick went flying. Guppy Troop turned me in for that.
you hold that against Kyle now?
What's that?
You hold that against Kyle? Is that a generational grudge?
Guppy and I are great friends.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, this is my show, so I get to tell the story. No.
I saw a guy bite a button off of his shirt once. He got so mad that he went like this, bit the button off of his shirt and spit it in the ashtray while we were bowling. One time we were bowling, and I back when I had knees, and I used to have, as you know, I had a pretty deep knee bend, and we were bowling night block. I think it was Cleveland. Harry Smith, sends the squad off, and then you know where Harry is. He's in the bar.
Yeah.
But at least we always knew where Harry was, right?
Right.
So we start bowling. Can't remember, probably cheap pair of pants that I could afford at the time. And all of a sudden I start to get this, I feel it, and I go, oh no. And I reach down and I got this little tear, like just to the left of the bottom of my zipper. And I'm like, oh no. And with each shot I throw, the tear starts to run down my leg, the inside part of my leg. By the time we called Harry Smith out, my pants had ripped from my crotch to my knee. We tried taping it. Nothing freaking worked. And it was like, so here I am, pant leg flopping all over the place. Everybody can see the place packed. So we call Smitty down. And Smitty comes down, and you know how Smitty used to talk. Everybody was babes. Yeah, babes. And he would talk to you with his head kind of tilted to one side, and he's half cropped. And he goes, yeah, babes, what's wrong? I said, well, Smitty, look at my pants. And he looks down at my pants, and he looks up at me, and he goes, are you wearing drawers? And I said, yeah. He slaps me on the back, says, keep striking, babes, and went back to the bar. That was it. Are you wearing drawers? Yeah, Smitty. That was that.
All right.
So let me ask you a question. Have you checked out any of the new Rob Stone Wendy's commercials?
I haven't seen them until you said something I didn't realize. I'm on YouTube TV now, so I don't see a lot of the commercials anymore.
Priceless.
Huh.
I mean, he's so good.
I'm going to have to go look him up.
He's just, it's just like, you watch him and you're like, yeah, that's what Rob does. He's so good. So it's good to see he's getting some extra action, and it's not like Fox isn't taking care of him.
It's been a pretty cool rise, actually, from when he first started with us, and he kind of stepped in for Dave Ryan, and he got to do a few of those 3-man booths with you guys before that, and now where he's hosting the multiple sport game day shows basically, and man, that's a meteoric rise through the ranks.
Yeah, he's where he should be.
He's really good at it. He's
really
great.
Good. And we are truly blessed and lucky to have him on the PBA shows. He brings so much clout and just so much energy, and he truly loves doing the bowling, and he loves the bowlers. And I got a text from him a couple days ago, and even though the schedule's not public yet, that it looks like his schedule is going to be a little freed up for him to do more shows with us next year. So,
really?
That's obviously great news for us. But I think he brings so much street cred to what we're trying to accomplish each and every week on the PBA Tour.
Yeah, it's he's our generation's Chris Schenkel, so to speak.
Yeah.
He's a legendary voice that transcends multiple sports genres, and still hasn't abandoned us for the greener pastures. And now you've done, 20 years, like you said, 20 some years now of color. Have you gotten to where you would be comfortable on a Fox show doing play-by-play?
Oh, wow.
For those of you who don't know how much stuff goes on behind the scenes, and color is one thing, and the play-by-play guy's good. The color job gets really easy.
Yeah.
The play-by-play has all the real work. and
I
there is a
agree.
lot of it.
I agree. I think the hardest part of the play-by-play is setting up the show, bringing us in and out. Does Rob Bull? No, very badly, Alan. I think Chris, he's a traffic cop, right? So bringing us in and out. Hey, welcome back, everybody. That's something that could be. But I think that whole setup as we come on the air. Of course, he's reading some of it while we're not on camera, and then coming on camera and laying down that foundation, and then coming to you after you lay down that foundation. I think that's probably the hardest part. That's where you need to be a real wordsmith, and then teeing your guy up.
Yeah,
the right
sometimes
way.
he's great. He's great at setting the stage. He's great at working people in and out, feeling the flow of
Yeah.
how things are going. And then the one skill that it's always, I think, I'm always amazed by. Okay, we're cutting down the show on 10, 9, 8, whoop, 20, 19, 18, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, now I got to fill in another 15 seconds. Are you kidding me?
And
And
I mean, you
the
get
great ones find a way.
Yeah, you get used to that over time, and
I suppose.
It's just you're always expecting the unexpected. I mean, there's not really too many curveballs that come my way nowadays that I haven't kind of been through before. I think the hardest part for an announcer is when there's no communication with the truck.
Oh,
What the hell's going on, right? So, if you need something from your producer and he doesn't answer you, that can be a bit unnerving. Sometimes the producer gets a little busy. Sometimes there's other stuff going on in the truck. Who knows? But that's kind of your lifeline. So when you lose that gets to be a bit unnerving. But I mean, aside from that, I think the thing that makes Rob so good is that he's unflappable. You know what I mean? Like, I've worked with, how many announcers have I worked with over the years, Chris? 8, 9, 10 different announcers? I mean, I've literally seen guys explode going to commercial break, slamming their fists on the desk, throwing pens at the monitors. I mean, just having a complete meltdown. Never seen Rob Stone do that, ever.
Just cool.
Just nothing bothers him. It's like if something goes bad, it's any profanity slips on TV from you, Alan. Yeah, I once dropped an F-bomb. No, Alan, never. I wouldn't be doing those. So, nothing bothers the guy. He just like, oh, well, that happened. Let's move forward. He's always moving forward. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned from him. You can't, I remember Scott Katz's dad, Howard Katz, who used to be at ESPN, and then he went to the NFL Network. You guys are great together. Thank you, Linda. Thanks, Linda. That's very sweet, and ditto. So Howard Katz was at ESPN. Then he went to the NFL Network, and I remember having Thanksgiving dinner at his house one year, and I asked him, like, hey, well, so when do you see yourself retiring or leaving television? And he said, when I finally see a perfect show. And I was like, what? And I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah. Because whether it's production, whether it's the analyst, whether it's the play-by-play, I've never been a part of a perfect show. There's always a little glitch. There's always something you wish you could take back. There's always something you said that you're like, oh, that was dumb. I mean, or, you stumble on a word, whatever the case may be. Maybe it's production where they run the wrong video. Maybe I'm writing mid-sentence and my producer's talking in my ear and all of a sudden I stop. And people at home don't hear him. They only hear me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and then, but like I said, the one thing that I learned from Rob is man, it happens, move forward. I used to, when I would screw up, which I still do, I would just it just crushed me. We'd go to commercial break, heads on the desk. I'm like, oh my God. And now I'm like, I'm human. It happened. Move forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I it's a very difficult job, and having voices in your ear while you're talking. Early on, I really struggled with that part of wanting to automatically answer the voices in my head. Um, I guess I also had that same problem when I actually bowled, and there was actually no headphones on. But uh, I digress.
We call those demons.
Yeah, sure. We can call them whatever you want. They all have their own names.
Wow.
Your highlight moment. I want to finish off with this. What would you consider your highlight performance moment? The one you look back on and you just want to relive that one every day.
I would say winning the national championship just based on how I did it and who was on that show. So it was myself, Weber, Ozio, Marshall Holman, Amuleto Monicelli. And I was in the 3-hole, and I ended up beating Ozio. And then I had the front 10 against Marshall. And then Amuleto needed a double in the 10th to win, and he went strike 4-pin. I think I averaged 250 that day. It was, and I had never won a major before. In fact, I had only had one win going into that event. And then turn around and win the next week after that was kind of, you'd think that you'd be kind of riding that fun wave a little bit longer. And I don't know how I was able to do it the next week, but I think I averaged 250 for the 3 games the next week as well.
I've always thought you're a pretty high confidence guy. And when you were feeling it, it wasn't hard to tell you were feeling it.
Yeah.
There was a different aura, a different walk, a different energy. And
I think you're right, Chris. And I'm not going to, I would say that I'm probably not the most confident guy in terms of the way I carry myself. It's,
that's not what I meant. I just meant when you had it.
But when I got to that point,
yeah,
there was a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's really hard to describe because it was just something that came over me and just like basically took over. And, I just got to a place mentally where I truly believed that there was no way that I was going to lose.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Not from an arrogant walk around every day thing. It was just once you had confidence and a real clear feel and picture of what you were doing, then once you had that confidence, then
right,
the sky was the limit.
Right, and that confidence truly fed off of how I felt.
Yeah.
In terms of the way I was throwing it. If I felt like shit throwing it,
yeah,
there was I wasn't going to fool myself or lie to myself. Oh, don't worry about it, bro. You're so great.
You take advice from Patsy Della Pena if you weren't feeling good. I watched it. So
yeah. I searched. I searched a lot. But yeah, I mean, I was different, in that confidence, and I kind of got that feel, and obviously I could see my shape was good, and then I got that feel of where Chris, I think the easiest way to sum it up is that if I felt that I could throw a strike whenever I needed it, I was good. Mm-hmm. And when I felt that I didn't want the ball in the fourth quarter, I knew that I was in trouble, and all I did was search and try. And I mean, shit, you and I won a regional doubles together. You've seen me.
Yeah.
If I didn't have it, I wasn't going to fool myself into making myself believe I had it when I didn't. So, but when I had it, then I felt like, no, it doesn't matter.
Charlie, Pat's a dollar.
Charlie.
Kevin Denny, this is kind of our core group here, but he's from the Boulevard Bowl area there in Edmond. And you want to leave us with one good Boulevard story?
Yeah, I got one and one only that I can share.
Yeah.
I think it was the first time that I went to Boulevard Bowl Richard Altman was sponsoring me at the time. He was the owner of Boulevard Bowl. And I think it was maybe the first time the PBA was going to Boulevard. And I brought my girlfriend from California with me. And we show up to Boulevard Bowl. And Richard said, Randy, come here. And I go, hey, Richard, what's up? He goes, who's that? And I said, that's my girlfriend. And he goes, son, you don't bring a sandwich to a luncheon. and then she flew home the next day. I'm sorry. I had to tell it. Yep. True story. Yeah. Well, needless to say that we didn't get married or anything. So.
Yeah. Well, I guess let's hope there wasn't one of Altman's daughters that was on the luncheon menu. So.
No.
Okay.
I never went there. I met people that did. We'll leave that for another show.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have an R-rated session, but
yeah, we'll just tee up Stu and he can run with it.
There we go. Well, with that, we've kept you on here a long time, and I appreciate you hanging out with us. We could talk to you all day. This have you back sooner than we did this time, and if we can catch into your fishing, golfing, name dropping, high end socializing, TV career having schedule. So
tough being me, Chris.
Yeah, everyone would. I'm pretty sure. So with that, you got anybody you want to thank?
Just you. Can't wait to work with you this weekend. I'll see you Saturday night. Maybe you want to wait for me. Maybe we can Uber over together. If not, don't worry about it. Obviously, thanks to Stewie as well. Special thanks to Storm, Rotogrip, 900 Global, and without Bolero and the PBA, man, none of this would be happening. So special thanks to them as well, and a special shout out to Rob Stone. And last but not least, this goes out to all of our veterans. Happy Veterans Day, peeps.
Happy Veterans Day. That's well said. Much appreciated. Thanks again for coming on. Like I said, we'll do it sooner than later, and hope that you can help me shake off the rust. It's been a minute since I've done any color, so I can use the Pros Pro next to me. I'm going to need a little help to carry through. So, but with that being said, thanks again, Randy, for joining us. If you would, please, thanks for coming on the show and watching in the comments. And please support the sponsors that support us. Storm, Rotogrip, Manor Global, Vice, Coolwick, 3G Shoes, Bowler's Mark Baker Bowling, Fire Lake Bowling Center, Platinum Ford, Lightning Strikes, and True Grit Coatings. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.